Hi everyone, we're just going to give it a couple of minutes for everyone to join and we'll get started straight away. We're currently on 64 participants. Okay, so while we wait, I'm just going to play a video of our exclusive luxury golf and spa resort that qualifies for the Portuguese Golden Visa. So it's just a 3-minute video, and as soon as that's finished, we'll get started. So I'll be back with you in 3 minutes. Okay, what a place. I don't know about you, but every time I watch that video, it makes me want to go on holiday. And I was here 3 weeks ago in this resort, and I can tell you that in person, it's even better. The resort is phenomenal, and the whole area, the whole Silver Coast is just magnificent. But anyway, that's just a teaser, okay, of what's to come. So welcome everyone to our Portugal Golden Visa webinar with a special emphasis on getting the application in by December 31st before the changes to the Portuguese Golden Visa. Now, the government has decided to change the rules for the Golden Visa, which are typically going to make it more expensive and in worse locations come 1st of January. So if anyone is considering doing it and wants to make a good investment, the time to do it is before December 31st. And to get started with the application, because it takes about 3 months to actually be able to file it, the cutoff really is September. So thank you a lot for joining us, whether maybe it's good morning if you're in Europe and most of Africa, good afternoon if you're here in the Middle East, and probably good evening if you're in Asia. So today I'm going to talk about, for about 20-25 minutes, okay, I'm going to run through who we are at Holborn Assets and Holborn Pass, then explain the different citizenship and residency programs, and why Portugal is a phenomenal opportunity, and why 95% of our clients go for Portugal above other jurisdictions. Again, the main emphasis is to get this done before the changes to the law, so I'll explain what these changes are. And then we'll go through the process, the benefits of the Portuguese program, and I'll explain a bit more in detail that beautiful project that you saw earlier, which qualifies under the €350,000 mark, but the money you need to invest is €284,000, which I'm convinced is the best product out there for the Golden Visa. And then please ask any questions as we go along, and at the end we'll have a Q&A. And I'll aim to answer all questions. We have about 80 participants who've joined so far. So thanks so much for joining us. So who are we at Holborn Assets? In case you don't know, we're a global wealth management company. Okay, we've been around since 1998. We've got offices pretty much all over the world, in UK, Portugal, Spain, Cyprus, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, 4 in Africa, another 5 offices in Asia, and we're just opening now in the US. We're a British family-run firm with over 500 employees, over 20,000 clients, and you can check our customer reviews, our client reviews on Trustpilot, where we've got 1,700 reviews, and we're rated excellent. Okay, we do all sorts of wealth management solutions designed to accumulate wealth, increase wealth, protect wealth, and one of our divisions, which is the one that I run, is called Holborn Pass. And we specialize in investments that give you either citizenship or give you residency. But our key take on this is that we look at it from the wealth management point of view first, to make sure we're getting the best solutions, the best investments that we can possibly get within the law of these different programs. Okay, to give you a bit of context, we do about 100 Portugal Golden Visas per year. And there's around 1,000 golden visas issued every year in Portugal. So we currently have a market share of about 10% of the global market. So we really are experts in Portugal. We do this day in, day out. We do other programs as well that I'll show you just now. But Portugal in particular this year is our most popular program. Okay, my name is Pablo Ostrick, and I run this the division, okay, across Holborn. So, a good place to start, in case you don't know, is what is citizenship and residency by investment, right? These programs have really come to life since the financial crisis, with governments looking to finance the deficits that they've had. And now with COVID, there's going to be even more deficits. So essentially, whether it's a residency or citizenship program, it works in a similar way. A foreign investor contributes in this desired country's economy. Typically, it's a real estate investment. Some countries in the Caribbean offer a donation. Others have a business, a fund, or a bond route. And in exchange for that investment, if it's a residency program, our clients will get a residency card that lets them live and work in that particular country. And in the case of Portugal, it's a bit of a hybrid between a residency and a citizenship, because after 5 years, that can become a passport without you having to live in Portugal. The citizenship programs are the passport programs, whereby you get a passport, let's say, straight away, you become a citizen with full rights just within a few months, really. So these are the main 18 government programs, the most popular ones in the world, and we work across all of them. Okay, on the left, we've got the passport programs, whereby you can get a passport in, let's say, typically 4 to 6 months across most of these countries. The first set of passports, if you like, the Antigua, St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Vanuatu. These are, short-term solutions in the sense that you can get them very fast and typically let you travel the world visa-free. But for anyone who's looking for, more long-term benefits such as healthcare, education, a real plan B, another country to actually be able to live in a developed economy, most of the times these countries aren't the best solution for that, right? The tiny islands. So Malta is part of the EU, and as an EU country, once you have the passport, you've got access to all the other 27 countries, right? So that's the reason why the Maltese program is so expensive. If you look at the price here, it's 800,000 euro donation, okay, meaning cost. So you don't see that money ever again. It's not an investment in the monetary sense. You do get a passport typically within a year. And the reason that EU passport is so expensive is that once you've got the Maltese passport or the Spanish or the French, you can live anywhere in Europe. Okay, you could retire to Greece, for example, or to, I don't know, Malaga in Spain. You could work in Germany or in Holland, for example. Your children could study in, I don't know, Ireland or Belgium, for example, at subsidized EU rates. And once you've got that passport, again, you can open up a business anywhere in the EU. It's not just Malta, it's not just Portugal. It's one of the best passports in the world. It's the 4th best passport in the world. So if I just go back to this chart here, Malta is one option, right, to get that EU passport. Montenegro and Turkey, they're not part of the EU, so they don't have those benefits that the Maltese or an EU country would have. So Malta is one route to get that EU passport. What are the other routes? So in the other residency programs, typically you'll get the residency card within 6 to 8 months. Okay, so you got Malta, UK, Portugal, Greece, USA, Spain, and Canada. And typically it'll take between 5 to 10 years to get the citizenship, right? But the key row here, if you like, is this one that says physical stay time for citizenship. How long do you need to spend in these countries to get the passport? And as you'll see, it's typically 6 to 9 months per year. You need to be a tax resident in these countries and physically move there for the next 5 to 10 years, with the exception of Portugal. Portugal is the only country where the only residency programs, let's say in the EU, which is a bit of a hybrid between citizenship and residency, because you don't have to move to Portugal. You can carry on living in Dubai, where I'm at now, or in South Africa, or in Lebanon, or wherever you are in the world. And the decision isn't to, as I said, move your family to another country for the next 5 to 10 years. The decision is to buy a property at a minimum entry level of 280,000 euros. So for this reason, for anyone who's looking for flexibility, doesn't want to spend 800,000 euros in Malta, and is willing to wait 5 years for something that will change the family's future and generations to come, almost always the easiest way to do it is to do it via Portugal, where you just buy a property. You need to keep it for 5 years. There's a price range here, 280 to 500, and I'll cover and explain how that all works. But really, that is the reason why Portugal, as opposed to any other country program, it is currently the only developed market country that makes sense from a wealth management point of view, from an investment point of view. And at the end of the day, it's 5 years. So if you're going to buy a property, you're going to keep that for 5 years anyway. So it makes a lot of sense to make a good investment, and also start working on EU passports for the whole family. So that's nice summary in terms of why Portugal. And if you dive into the Portuguese program, so in case you haven't been to Portugal, it's a phenomenal country. I'm from Spain, I'm from Madrid, so I feel like a bit of a traitor promoting Portugal all the time. But I was just there 3-4 weeks ago on holiday, and it really is a great country for a number of reasons. First of all, 70% of the population speak English, so it's a very international country, and it's voted as the most welcoming country for expats in the world by Internations, which is a network of expats all over the world. It has the 3rd lowest crime rate in the world, so a lot of our clients unfortunately come from countries or have passports that there's riots or there's a lot of instability. So having a very peaceful country that's been the same for the last, say, 800 years, one of the oldest countries in the world, is a massive benefit. It's also voted for the last 3 years in a row as the world's best retirement destination, okay, for a number of reasons. First of all, the quality of life is incredibly high. It has the lowest cost of living in Western Europe, and it has fantastic weather, good food, and very friendly people. So it's a fantastic combination for anyone looking to retire or maybe have a second home. Additionally, Portugal likes to incentivize people to move to Portugal, and they discount your taxes for the first 10 years. Okay. Portugal also boasts the 12th best public healthcare system in the world, which is free for all residents and citizens. And you can be treated for anything from cancer to a cold for free. Finally, Portugal also has one of the best education systems in the world, which is free again to all residents and citizens. So that's just a quick introduction to Portugal as a country. In terms of the Portuguese Golden Visa program and why we like it so much, it's because it's a very tried and tested program, right? It's begun since 2012. People started getting their passports in 2018. And there's over 26,000 people that have gotten their residency cards and that are, residents of Portugal, some living there, some on the way to the citizenship after 5 years. To apply, the only requirement really is that you don't have a criminal record and you can't be an EU citizen, okay? Other than that, as long as you make a qualifying investment, you can include yourself, your spouse, your parents, your spouse's parents, and your children. Typically, they have to be under a certain age, normally 21, 22, and parents typically over 65. But again, exceptions can be made as long as we can prove that they're dependent on the main applicant. Okay, so this is the law as it currently stands. Okay, the qualifying investment. So if you go via the real estate route, and all of these you need to keep for 5 years, right? That's a requirement before we can apply for the permanent residency or for the citizenship. And the first category that was introduced was invest €500,000, buy any property you like anywhere in Portugal, it all qualifies. Okay. Then in 2017, they introduced another category that if you refurbish a building that's 30 years or older, that amount will drop from €500,000 to $350,000. Okay. And both these categories can be discounted by 20% if the investment is in low density areas, which normally are in the inland areas of Portugal. Okay, what are the other routes? So you can invest into a private equity fund for €350,000, okay, which you need to keep at least 5 years. You can fund a bank account with €1 million, qualifying for the Golden Visa. Or you can open up a business, inject €350,000 capital and 5 permanent jobs. So this is the law as it currently stands today. So what's changing 1st of January 2022? Unfortunately for the investors, things aren't going to get better. Basically, there's a new left-wing government that is choosing to increase the entry levels across most categories and also channel the real estate investments out of Lisbon, Porto, and the entire coastline, and move them to the rural areas of Portugal that need this investment, which is great for Portugal, but not so good for anyone wanting to make a good investment. So 1st of January, residential property in Porto, Lisbon, and the entire coastline will no longer qualify for Golden Visa. Okay, so what does that leave us? So if you want to buy residential, only the inland areas of Portugal, the rural areas, the mountainous areas, if you like, and also some of the islands in the Atlantic, that's what, the only part that will qualify as residential real estate. The fund minimum option is going from €350,000 to €500,000. Okay. And the government bond is increasing from 1 million to 1.5 million, and the existing into a business and creating 500 jobs is also increasing to €500,000. So we'll walk through the timeline in a second, but really anyone who wants to get started and qualify under the current rules, i.e. these ones, you need to do it, you need to get started by September so we can apply by December 31st. Okay, so okay, so say we start working on your Golden Visa cards today. 8 months from now, we'll have them delivered to you. Okay, so it takes about 8 months until we can get the cards. For the first 5 years, okay, you would be able to live and work in Portugal. So your plan B is sorted out. You don't have to, but you can. You will never have to get a Schengen visa ever again. You know, as an EU resident, you have freedom of movement in the EU, and also freedom of establishing a business, freedom of goods, freedom of movement of capital. These are the benefits: the healthcare, the education. You can contribute onto a state pension if you would like. So these are the benefits for the first 5 years. Now, the Golden Visa cards are valid for 2 years. So in year 2 and in year 4, you'll have to go to Portugal to renew the cards. Okay, our lawyers help you with the process. And once you've done the 2 renewals, typically we recommend that you spend 2.5 weeks in year 2, 2.5 weeks in year 4. So that when we get to year 5 and we apply for your passport, you already have one of the 2 conditions that are required to get the passport. Now, in Portugal, you don't have to do a cultural exam. You don't need to live there full time. You just need to visit 5 weeks total in that 5-year period. And secondly, you need to have the A2 language level of Portuguese. Now, the A2 language level is not an intermediate level, it's not an advanced level, it's a basic level, okay? Typically requires around 3 months, a couple of hours a week of, say, classes. It can be online study, can be, you know, you can attend a school anywhere in the world. And that's enough to get to the A2 language level. So it requires a little bit of effort, but for, you know, the massive benefits that you're getting, and without having to spend 800,000 euros in Malta, it's definitely worth the effort. And, you know, fair enough, you need to show those ties to Portugal so that, you know, you can get your citizenship. So at this point, you have the 4th best passport in the world that lets you travel to 185 countries visa-free. So anywhere in green on this presentation, on this picture, is where you can travel visa-free: US, Canada, Australia, etc., etc. And the most important benefit, in my opinion, is that you can live, work, and study anywhere in the 27 EU countries, right? Not just Portugal. If you prefer Spain, you prefer France, you prefer Germany, Italy, you know, the choice is yours. And also for, you know, your kids, your grandkids, they can also choose wherever they prefer. Okay, so in terms of the process, so we help from beginning to end until you get our Golden Visas. Okay, we do this all the time. It takes about 8 months, okay, from beginning to end. And nowadays, with Zooms, digital signatures, and couriers, we're able to get you approved in Portugal without you having to go to Portugal. Okay, so we can get you to step 4, where it says pre-approval, without having to go to Portugal. Once you're approved, the final step is to go to Portugal to schedule the biometrics. Our lawyers accompany you to do it. It takes about half a day, fingerprints, photographs, and that's it. 2 months later, your cards are issued and your 5 years start counting. Now, where it says here, step online submission, this is where we need to be by December 31st to make sure that we qualify under the current rules, okay? Which means we need to start here by September, ideally the sooner the better. And because we need to obtain tax numbers for you in Portugal, we need to open a bank account in your name in Portugal. We need to do the powers of attorney with the lawyers in Portugal. Then you send your money to your Portuguese bank account, and then the lawyers at the notary public buy the property on your behalf. And with that qualifying title deed and the documents that we've helped you compile, which aren't many, typically are, you know, marriage certificate, birth certificates, and police clearance certificates, we apply to the government again by December 31st and then get you approved. Okay, so this is the you know, timeline process, how it all works. In terms of the real estate options, okay, so these are the main categories, as we said. New build, €500,000. We've got all of Portugal to choose from. You know, we have some options there, some good investments that we found in this category. Also the 350,000 level as well. But today, what we're introducing is to go via the fund route, to use purely the private equity fund as a mechanism to buy a new build property, and with a full title deed for the investor, and without having to spend €500,000 on a new build property. The entry level at a fund is 350,000 euros, and we're able to get that down to 284,000 euros to buy a new build property in the resort we were showing earlier, which is a 5-star luxury golf and spa resort, which is just delivered this year. So by using this structure, we're able to essentially half the investment that you normally need on a new build property. So how does the fund route actually work, right? So we discussed earlier that you need to invest 350,000 euros to a private equity fund. And most of the time, the private equity funds work like this. They're real estate based. So you'll join another, whatever, 300 or however many investors that invest into the fund, which let's say is called Atlantic Via. And this fund will invest into companies that own real estate projects, because a private equity fund can't invest into real estate; it has to invest into companies. So they invest into the company and then into the project. So essentially, that fund is invested into maybe 20 projects, and after 7 to 10 years, whatever the fund has done, the performance, whether it's up, whether it's down, pays that to the investors, that they kind of cash out. And that's it. That's how the A shares or the normal route would work. Now, because most of our clients want to do real estate investment, what we're able to do is go via the fund route, but instead of going through the usual route, is that we invest into only one company and only into one project, and actually only into one property. Meaning that our investors get the full title deed from day one, and they have zero exposure to the fund, whether it goes up, whether it goes down. They're just exposed to the property, and after 5 years, they still have their property, and they've invested at the 350 or even 284 level that I was mentioning, instead of the 500,000. So these are the mechanics of how we're able to invest into that one specific property, but lowering the entry amount considerably. So at the start of this webinar, I showed you the video of our exclusive Royal Obidos Golf and Spa Resort. These aren't renderings, these are real pictures. As I said, I was here 3-4 weeks ago, just checking out the resort. And these are some beautiful drone pictures of the resort and the whole area. So here you go. So it's a 5-star luxury golf and spa resort. These are about 3-4 weeks ago, so the landscaping wasn't finished. These properties were just delivered this year, so they're brand new luxury resorts. Okay, and again, and this is my favorite picture. It's on a hill, so it's got views onto the golf course and onto the sea. So, as we said, this is going via the fund option, but essentially using the fund purely as a structure to get the full title deed, and the fund structure disappears after year 5, year 6, leaving you just with the property. And even with the property, we have an exit strategy for that in year 5 and year 6 that we agree on today, let's say. Okay, so we have 64 studios. The square meter size is 55 square meters. If you know much about Portuguese property, usually one beds go for around 40 square meters. So this is a very large studio, and the price is 350,000 euros, but you only require 284,000 euros of your own capital. And I'll explain how the financials work in just 2 slides. So as we said, you have the full title deed of the hotel residences, which is these little villas structures over here. And this is the 5-star resort. I was just here having a coffee a few weeks ago. And the property was delivered just this year, so it's brand new. It was designed by Philip Stark, the famous architect, in case you know him. And the golf course was designed by Severiano Ballesteros quite a few years ago, and this year is the PGA golf course for Portugal. So it really is one of the best. Finally, as part of the investment, the program, you can stay in your 5-star luxury golf and spa resort 6 weeks per year, for 5 years. So what's that? 30 weeks. That's just over half a year, if you like, across the 5-year program. So where is the Royal Obidos Golf Spa Resort located? It's a 45-minute drive from Lisbon. Okay, it's a very upmarket area. It's one of 4 5-star resorts, and also golf resorts. There's like 5 golf courses in the same area. It's between two major surfing destinations. You may be familiar with Nazaré. Nazaré has the largest waves in the world. So if you've ever seen a YouTube video or a picture of a massive wave near the coast, and people just taking pictures of it and not scared of it, the place is Nazaré, because there's these underwater canyons that create these ridiculous waves. And it's just such a a famous destination. The largest waves in the world are there in Nazaré, which is just 7 minutes away from the resort. And then on the other side, so on the western side, you've got Peniche Balear, which is also where the World Surf Championships are held. Finally, you've got Óbidos, which is a medieval city, which is a beautiful area, which is only 8 minutes away, and the Óbidos Lagoon, which is one of the largest in Europe, which is a destination where a lot of people go on holiday because the water's a lot warmer, if you like, than the Atlantic, particularly in the autumn and spring. And you can do a lot of water activities, and it's a place where a lot of people have got summer houses. A lot of Portuguese, because it's so close to Lisbon, they go there for their holidays. So that's just a quick introduction in terms of the location. In terms of the financials, and here's when it gets particularly interesting, in my opinion, making it probably the best product out there for Golden Visa. While the price of the studio is 350,000 euros, and it has to be to qualify for the Golden Visa, the rental income that's paid to the investor is 5% per year for 5 years. Okay, so a total of 25% on a 350,000 euro investment is 87,500 euros before tax. So once that's paid to the client, the investor, the client receives 65,000 euros into his bank account or her bank account for the rental return for the next 5 years. Okay. Now, what we're able to do is that as long as our investors send 284,000 euros into the bank account in Portugal, into the fund, the developer will pay the entire 65,000 euros back to the investor's account outside of Portugal, which will then help the investor find the remaining 65,000 euros to get to the 350,000 studio. Okay, so that's the mechanics of it, and essentially, if you're investing at the 500,000 level for a new build property, you need to put taxes on top of that. You're looking close to 600,000 euro investment. Here, you were able to limit that investment or cut that amount by half, and invest only 284,000 euros. And again, this isn't a 30-year-old refurbishment. This is a brand new 5-star luxury resort with a very high chance of capital appreciation because of the areas just developing. Just around here, you'll see on the other side, they're going to be villas that are going to be built for, or be sold for around 2 million euros each. So, I'd say it's an up and coming area, but it isn't. It's already up and come, but it's going to carry on appreciating over the next few years for sure. So this is, the entry level, the rental return that's paid up front. There's a few things here that we really like when we look at this investment. First of all, the project is already built. There's no off-plan risk. The rental return is paid up front. There's no chance that you're not going to get paid your rental return because you get it at the beginning. Finally, there's an exit strategy in place as well. 6 years from now, once you get your passport, if you want to, you are entitled to force the developer to buy you back for the original purchase price. So this is secured via a forward purchase contract. You don't have to opt in, it's up to you. The reason the developer offers this buyback is because it's a no-brainer for them to offer the same price buyback from 6 years ago, right? The Portuguese real estate market, if you look at the last 20 years, is a fantastic real estate market, one of the best in Europe. There's great regulation, and the capital appreciation has been really phenomenal, mainly because of the lack of supply and very big demand. So those are the financials, okay? So of how it all works. And here are just some beautiful drone pictures of the resort. as I said, these aren't renderings. These are as it is today. Okay, these are the rooms, the apartments, and the kitchenette. The studio, which is the 55 square meters studio, so it is pretty large. So it's this whole area here. Okay, and basically there's ground floor and there's the first floor across all these, you know, I think it's 25 villas that contain these different studios and one beds. The one beds go for 500 plus. So what we're focused on today is keeping the cost at a minimum and sticking to the 350 and really 280,000 euro capital outlay. This is just a resort of map of the resort. So the hotel residences and the resort are on the top of the hill. So they have the best view of the entire resort looking down. Sea's kind of over here. And then the clubhouse, the different, you know, golf holes. And here where the villas are going to be built, the 2 million euro villas. Okay. So that's it. I think from my side. I hope, yeah, everything was, you know, was clear. I hope I added value to you, and really anyone who wants to make a good real estate investment. Again, this isn't me saying it. This is the government that's changing the law. So, you know, I think we'll open up the floor to the questions. So I think we've got still 90 participants, which is phenomenal. And let's see. Okay, so please feel free to ask questions on the chat, on the Q&A, and I'll do my best to answer them. So, okay. Great, good morning to everyone. Okay, so John Pineda is asking about the tax on the rental. Yes, Portugal has a rental income tax, and well, just an income tax in general, and that is 25% withheld at source. So even the developer would want to pay you 87,000 euros, they need to keep 25%, and what you receive net is that 65,000 euros into your bank account. Okay, so I think that's the answer to that. What else? Okay, and the Q&A. Okay, let's see. Okay. So in terms of the fund investment, someone's asking for, Tawacho is asking for a further detail. Well, let's start maybe with cost, right? Cost associated with the Golden Visa. Besides the property purchase, you're going to have to pay legal fees, which say start at 10,000 euros. You're going to have to pay tax on the property, which is about 25,000 euros. And then depending on how many applicants, you'll have to pay 5,000 euros per person to the government. So for a family, you're looking at around 50,000 euros average costs, let's say. So the rental return that you receive from the developer, this more than pays off any other costs and leaves you at a net positive. So the way this we've structured the Golden Visa is that you will actually be at a net positive. You'll own an asset worth 350,000 euros within 8 months. And maybe the cost of it in terms of your net position, once you've taken into account the costs and the rental return, you know, you could be at 340,000 euros, right? Or even less, 335,000 euros, meaning you had a net positive of, you know, 10,000 euros, again, depending on how many applicants. Basically, if you want to include more people in the application, by every additional person, you need to factor in another 6,000 euros in fees that have gone mainly to the government. Okay. So regarding the buyback, so the buyback is a forward purchase contract that the developer agrees to buy you back 6 years from now at the original purchase price. But the option to want the buyback is on you. So you get to choose on year 4 if you want them to buy you back or not in year 6. Okay. Frankly, with this project, you know, you'd probably be mad to take the buyback because, you know, unless you want a quick exit strategy, and then I do recommend you go for the buyback. But if you're able to, you know, put the property on the market and sell it at a good price, you will almost certainly make a good capital gain. Okay. Okay, so that covers, I think, most of the taxes and the costs. Thanks, Thawachai, for your questions. Ponky Pat is asking again about the buyback. Yeah, so I think it's pretty much covered. So yeah, in year 6, you could, or in year 4, you choose if you want the buyback in year 6. Whether you want the citizenship or you want the permanent residency. Some people don't want to, maybe if their country of origin makes them choose between passports, if they don't allow dual citizenship, a lot of people choose the personal, the PR, the permanent residency in year 6 instead of the citizenship. I'd say most of our clients go for the citizenship in year 6. The PR is very fast. It's typically taken about 3 months because it's the same government entity that issues the Golden Visa, right? So what that means is that you can relinquish your Golden Visa investment. You can sell it, get your money back, and then you're a permanent resident of Portugal for the rest of your life, you and your whole family. The citizenship is taking typically around 10 months now, 10 to 12 months, mainly because of delays with COVID, and it's a different government entity that is just taking a bit longer. But now there's plenty of cases, and since 2018, everyone who's meant to be getting the citizenships is getting it. So that's why we really like Portugal, because there's the track record of these years. Is there a limit on number of family members? The answer is no, within reason. So if you had 20 kids aged under 18 or 20, we can include them in the application. But typically, you include your spouse, your parents, your spouse's parents. You can even include father-in-law, mother-in-law. You can't include sisters or siblings, okay, in the one application, because that would have to be a separate application. But you can include kids, yeah, so I think that answers the question. Okay, Stuart, thank you for your question. As a US citizen without residency, we're limited to 90 days and 180 days in Schengen. Does the Golden Visa get us beyond this limit? Yes, it does. And that's the same thing for Brits now after Brexit. So if you want full access to the EU, by being an EU resident, having the Golden Visa, you have freedom of movement across the 26 Schengen countries, pretty much to spend as long as you want. You should only live permanently in Portugal for the first 5 years, but it's very difficult to track, and it's impossible to track because there's no borders, right? So you have the freedom of movement across the different countries. On the language test, yes, the whole family need to take it, okay? So, unless maybe the parents are very old or the kids are very young, then exceptions are made, but in general, it's a nice family activity. You go together, take a few classes together, pick up a basic level of Portuguese. Takes a little bit of effort, as I said, 2 to 3 months, but definitely worth it in the long term. Okay, is there any property service fees to be paid on an annual basis, like municipal charges or developer management fees? So the furniture is all taken care of, the service fees are all taken care of, so none of that is necessary. There's no maintenance on it. You will need to pay like an IMT tax just for owning a property, which at this price point is typically around 900 euros is what you pay per year. Okay, so that would be the annual fees, if you like, for the property. What would hold one's fees start from start of application to issue of residency passport? So assuming, say, for a family of 4, it'd be a 13,000 euro legal fee for the 8 months of legal work. And then we're here throughout the entire process, but we don't feel that we do much work in years 2 and 4 and the citizenship. So we don't charge on top of what our lawyers will charge to get that application. So for a family of 4, let's say, you're looking at 8,000 euros in legal fees across the 6 years, in year 2, year 4, and the application for citizenship in year 5. And additional to the where most of the work is done, which is the first 8 months to get the Golden Visa cards, which are, let's say, 13,000 euros in fees. Yes, this presentation or this webinar will be recorded. So it will be sent to you, and we can share the presentation with you. I'd encourage you, if you want a one-on-one consultation, you can definitely meet with me or someone in my team, and you know, we can help you with any questions you have and get started before it's too late. Okay, is the passport guaranteed after 5 years, or could the laws change? So the nationality law is very clear. You need to have 5 years of residency in Portugal to be able to get the nationality. You also can't be a criminal, you can't have a criminal record, and you need to have a knowledge of Portuguese, which is done with the A2 language level. As long as you meet these requirements, you keep your property for the 5 years, and you're a resident, and CEF is the government entity that handles the Golden Visa, clearly states the residency is via the Golden Visa. You need to reside 5 weeks total in that 5-year period. And in that sense, as long as you meet the criteria by the law, it is guaranteed, right? It is the law, and I can point you to the government website and the law, so you can see for yourself. Okay, what's the cost of having kids, parents added to the passport? So the cost of every additional person is 6,000 euros per person, okay? Regarding the income tax exemption for 10 years, what will be the tax after it? So the non-habitual tax regime typically applies if you come from a country, let's say a developed country, where you have maybe a state pension, you have you know, pensions from your say from your companies, and essentially when you move to Portugal, so it's key to move to Portugal, for the first 10 years of you being a tax resident, you'll have a discount on any money or any income that you have abroad. So for example, a lot of Germans, a lot of Swedes, a lot of Brits would move to Portugal, so that instead of paying 45% tax on their pension, you end up paying 5%. Okay, so that's how that works. If you're a Portuguese national or even a resident, you live in Dubai or you live in South Africa, you'll pay taxes in Dubai or in South Africa, right? You won't pay taxes in Portugal. You only pay taxes in Portugal if you live in Portugal. It's not like the US, where you have a Portuguese passport, you're going to pay taxes to the US forever. Portugal, only if you live in Portugal will you pay taxes in Portugal. If you live in Italy, you'll pay taxes in Italy, etc., etc. Okay, thanks for your questions. Laura Coulomb is asking, is it possible for the Portuguese government to change some of the requirements, such as increase the amount of weeks to spend there or other requirements? Do we have a guarantee this won't happen? So yes, it is possible for the governments to change things. As we've gone through the presentation, 1st of January, they're changing things. But as long as you're in under the current rules, it's actually impossible for them to change them retroactively. They can only change them going forward. So for example, Cyprus had their Citizenship Program closed last November, right? So anyone who got in for the 2 million euro into real estate in exchange for the passport got in. Anyone after, well, they didn't get in. So that's the guarantee. It's EU law. And as I said, as long as we've applied by December 31st, we're in under the current requirements. Could they close the Golden Visa program in a year? You know, it's possible, even likely, that it'll be closed within 2 years. So that's the answer to that. Khalid is asking, does the 284,000 euro have to be paid all up front? Yes, it does. You can't mortgage the 284,000 euros in Portugal. You need to come up with that money from outside of Portugal into Portugal, and the property has to remain unencumbered. How you come up with that money, that's up to you. You know, can you refinance an existing property? Can you take out a personal loan? Do you want to sell stocks, crypto? It's probably a good time to sell crypto right now, and you know, crystallize some of those gains. So, but you know, we need to buy the property, so we need the full, you know, 350,000 euros to go into Portugal to get the Golden Visa, right? Unless that's there, the Golden Visa won't be granted. So it has to be paid up front. Actually, how it's paid, or how the mechanics work from a cash flow point of view, you typically have to come up with 25,000 euros to start. Okay, that pays for the legal fees and puts a deposit on the property. So that's the urgent part. We start with that. And about 2 months from now, that's when you need to send the 284,000 euros to Portugal. Okay. Okay. Stuart is asking about the buyback up front. When do you need to commit to the buyback? So the buyback contract is signed at the start. So we sign it today, but you have the option in year 4 to choose if you want them to buy you back in year 6. So in year 4, maybe your circumstances have changed and you just want your money back quickly. And you say, okay, in year 4, you say, yes, I need the buyback now as per the contract. The buyback is secured via a 20% penalty, right? So if in year 4 you say, yes, I want the buyback that I've signed for and that we've agreed, and in year 6, the developer chose not to buy you back, they would need to pay you a 20% penalty as per the contract. Chances are, you probably don't want the buyback anyway. So in year 4, you could say, okay, no thanks. I'm going to make the upside and I'm going to sell this property myself in year 6, or maybe I want to keep it and carry on, making that 5% rental income. That's the choice of the investor. Okay. With regards to the police clearance certificate, so Ayman is asking, how do you get around for this? Some countries require you to say what the purpose for this police clearance certificate is. I don't think there's any other country in the world well, there isn't a country in the world, maybe North Korea, that bans getting a second residency. And really at the start, the Golden Visa is a residency, right? So it's not a citizenship. And I know some countries don't allow for dual citizenship, but all countries, allow for another residency. So I can't see that being a problem. It hasn't been for any of our clients, and we have clients from, all over the world. So that's that. Okay, Portugal's allowed for a dual citizen. Yes, you can have 2 citizenships. You can have 10 citizenships. There's no problem from Portugal's side. Some countries, China, for example, or Saudi or some other countries, India, for example, only allow for 1 citizenship. So, sometimes you get to choose in year 5 what you want, right? The permanent residency or the citizenship. And then maybe you drop another passport or you go into the OCI card, for example, in India, which means you've got a permanent residency in India. The 25,000 tax is paid annually or covers 5 years. So when you buy a property in Portugal, you have to pay a one-time tax, which is the stamp duty and the IMT, the municipal tax. And that's a one-off 25,000 euro tax, which is paid at the start. And this is typically covered by the rental return, right? The 65,000 euros more than covers that, pays the legal fees, and also pays for the Golden Visa card fees. Okay, thank you all for your questions. There's 31 questions already, so thanks so much for making this interactive. Faye Lawson is asking, if you live in another European country such as Spain, where are you taxed? So you're taxed where you're fiscally resident, which means where you live for over 184 days per year, that's where you're going to be taxed. So if you're living in Spain for over 6 months, you'll be taxed in Spain. Portugal residency doesn't really matter because from a tax point of view. Okay, if the investor opts to pay the full 350,000 euros up front, is there a lettings agency Holborn can outsource to secure a tenant for the next 5 years? But the rental is already taken care of, right? The hotel residences, so the hotel is gonna, is gonna make the property busy. You're getting the rental return, that 5% up front for the entire 5 years. So you're getting 25% up front. So really, you don't have to worry about the tenant because that's not your problem, right? You've got paid for that benefit. So so that's the answer to that. Can you highlight tax issues like global income? I think I've covered that. Short story is whether you're Portuguese resident or Portuguese citizen, as long as you're not living in Portugal, you won't pay taxes in Portugal. You'll pay taxes wherever you're living. It's not like the US. Okay, if the investor cannot pass the language test at A2, what happens? Well, if you're worried about that, maybe you should start now. You can take the test as many times as you like, right? Until you pass it. Again, it's a basic level, so just requires a little bit of effort. And that's it. Okay, thanks, Awachai, for your details. We'll have the we have an office in Bangkok, so we'll have someone from Asia reach out to you and schedule a meeting to discuss any questions. The deadline for the application, thanks Andy for asking the question, is December 31st to qualify under the current rules, which means the real deadline for anyone looking to get started is September. Okay, so we really don't have too much time, just a couple of weeks to get started. Okay. What happens if you have a European passport? Do the cost of process change? If you have a European passport, well, an EU passport, you can't apply for the Golden Visa. It's not possible. Okay, so you need to be from a third country to qualify for the Golden Visa. Okay, why would the buyback be at the purchase price and not the market value after the year's period? Well, that's the developer's choice. They give you the exit strategy, but it's their price point. So, you know, it's good for them, but then it's also good for the investor to have, you know, an exit strategy lined up. So the total money you need right now is 284,000 euros, and then all charges are paid using the return. More or less, you need to get started 25,000 euros for the legal fees and the deposit on the property, and then 2 months from now you need to send 284,000 euros to Portugal. Okay, and the taxes. So you're looking at 200. It's actually 295,000 euros that you send, let's say, 2 months from now. And then in month 7, once we've got your Golden Visa approved, you've done your biometrics to Portugal, you'll have to pay the government 5,000 euros per person. So 25,000 euros to begin, 295,000 euros, let's say, 2 months from now, and then we'll get you approved. Okay, if the owner is allowed to stay 6 weeks per year, will that impact the 5% return? No, that's built into it. So you can stay the full 6 weeks per year, enjoy the lovely Óbidos and the entire Silver coastline, and that's enough. You're getting the 5% at the start anyway. Okay, so that's 33 questions answered in the on the Q&A. I think there's a couple more questions on the chat. Let me just see that I haven't missed any. Okay. Yeah, so anyone who's got kids aged 20 and 17, so anyone who's got kids above 18, as long as they're enrolled into a academic institution and you've paid for their tuition, we can include them in the Golden Visa in the same application, right? The problem with older kids, so imagine your kids are 29, is that we have that they're adults and no longer, you know, young kids, so they have to do their own investment to qualify for the Golden Visa. Okay, and they can include their own family unit. Any nationalities that aren't included for the program? No, all nationalities are welcome in Portugal and in Europe. Okay, all nationalities, all health conditions. A lot of, you know, people ask that question because, you know, Australia or some other countries don't allow you if you're not you know, if you have any medical issues. That's not the case in Portugal. Okay, for a family of 2 adults and 2 kids, you'd probably be looking at, I need to do the maths. What is that? 13 plus 25, 38, 30. Yeah, you'd probably have like a net cost of I think it'd be 349,000 euros. Okay, after 8 months. So to get your Golden Visa, full cost would be 349,000 euros, out of which you own a property worth 350. So that's the answer. The rental collection. The rental is paid before you buy the property, right? So you send 284,000 euros to Portugal, you receive 65,000 euros, and then you send that back to Portugal. So it's paid even before you buy the property, right? So there's no danger that won't go through. Okay, good. Yes, indeed, Karen. It's a basic level of Portuguese. It just requires a little bit of effort, and that's it. Okay. Correct. Okay. Okay. So Faye is asking any restrictions as to when you can stay in your property. You can stay 3 weeks in the high season and 3 weeks any other time. Okay, so it's quite generous, because most of the money, if you like, is typically done July and August, right? In these destinations. Even though this type of property throughout the year, because of the golf resort and also the lagoon and also Óbidos, because it's a medieval city, will be frequently visited as well. Okay, so okay, more questions. Maybe some of the final last questions. So, are medical costs covered during the 5 years? You need to live there for how long to be included? Yes. So, even as a Golden Visa resident, so living abroad, not living in Portugal, you can still qualify for the free medical care. Okay. You just need to be subscribed in your local GP. That's the requirement. Okay, all right. So I think that's 45 questions. So I think we'll leave it there, and it's just about an hour today. So thank you so much for joining. I think we had 95 people join us today, and please reach out to us directly, to your financial advisor point of contact. And I hope I added value, and we stay in touch. Thank you. Bye-bye.